Hello guys, today I am going to start with a new playlist wherein we are going to discuss some strategies related to the different types of questions on your GRE. I, Durga Sircar, your verbal mentor from IMS International, I am going to help you solve questions of text completion, sentence equivalence, reading comprehension and even critical reasoning, the 4 types of questions that you see on your GRE verbal section. So in the first video of this playlist, today we are going to discuss about text completion questions and some strategies that will help you solve text completion questions effortlessly. So without further ado, let's start with the video. So what are text completion questions? So before discussing some tips and tricks, let's talk about what text completion questions are actually and what can you expect on text completion questions. Okay. So text completion questions are a type of question in which you would see a sentence and there would be 1, 2 or 3 blanks in that particular sentence. So in simpler words, we can also say that text completion questions are a type of filler or fill in the blank type of questions. But beware, there is another filler type of question on the GRE, that is your sentence equivalence. Okay. So sentence equivalence is slightly different from text completion. We will discuss that in our next video. So stay tuned, but let's focus on text completion today. So like I was saying that you will have a single sentence or you might have up to 5 sentences. Okay. And there would be certain blanks in that sentence or group of sentences. You can have a maximum of 3 blanks when we talk about text completion, and you have to get all the 3 blanks correct if you want to get credit for that particular question. So on the GRE, there is no partial credit or no half mark or 1/3 mark. You will have to get all the 3 blanks correct. Okay. When you have a single blank, you are going to have 5 options and 1 out of those 5 options is going to be the correct answer. When you have 2 blanks, you are going to have 3 options per blank. So 3 options for blank 1 and 3 options for blank 2. Similarly, for a 3 blank question, you are going to have 9 options, 3 for blank 1, 3 for blank 2 and 3 for blank 3. For each blank, you have to select only one correct choice and only one combination of answers will be the correct answer. You will get some clues from the sentence. The sentence will help you understand what should come in the blank, and your knowledge of vocabulary will be crucial in helping you solve the text completion questions. So, a little bit more about what are the different types of text completion questions that we have. So like we were talking about, there are 3 types of text completion questions. 1 blank. So you can see an example of a 1 blank question on my screen here. A 1 blank question will have 1 sentence with 1 blank and 5 options, out of which there will be only 1 correct answer. A 2 blank question will again have 1 or it can also have multiple sentences, 2 or 3 with 2 blanks, 3 options per blank, and any one combination of answers will be a correct answer. Finally, you will have a 3 blank question in which you will have 1, 2, 3 blanks, and for each blank you are going to have 3 options. So 3 options for the first one and similarly for the second and the third. So now, how do we encounter or how do we tackle a text completion question? So in IMS, we have a very famous strategy for solving text completion questions that is called as storyboarding. Now, what do we mean by storyboarding? Now, as the name suggests, storyboarding. So we will have to make a kind of a story from the clues that are present in the sentence. So there are certain blanks which are there in the sentence and there is also a lot of information. That information will act as clues which we will use to build a story and understand what should come in the blank. So in storyboarding, we will read the sentence in chunks and we will pay attention to the different ideas that the different parts of the sentence are conveying. Reproduce the sentence as a story and try to connect all the dots based on the information that is given to you. Once you have connected all the dots, try to relate the different parts of the sentence to each other. In doing so, you will be able to find out whether the blank has a positive tone or the blank has a negative tone. So identifying the tone of the blank is also crucial when it comes to filling the blank. Finally, once you have figured, okay, maybe you need X in the blank, try to think of X as a word in your simple vocabulary. Try to predict the answer. Now, when you are predicting the answer, I do not need you to, use very heavy words. You can use simple words like happy, sad, good, bad, worse, I am something like sick. Okay, use very simple words, because what will happen when you will predict the answer in your own words, you will have mental connection with the sentence, and you would know what kind of a word you are looking for in the options. Because sometimes what happens that our human mind, it has a tendency to like certain words because we know the meaning of those words, and on the GRE you will find many words whose meanings we don't know. So by default we would be a little bit afraid of those words, or we would not have an inclination towards going for those words, and we might end up marking the incorrect choice. So in order to effectively eliminate the wrong choices, we should have a shadow word, or we should have a word in our own vocabulary in our mind, so that we can do a better elimination. And finally, the last step is eliminate the wrong choices to get to the right one. Now, once we have gone through all of these strategies and tips and tricks, now we are going to solve some questions so that we can use these strategies and implement them in real time. Okay guys, now let's discuss some questions in which we are going to employ the strategies that we have just discussed. I will also go on to explain you about context clues, tell you about contrast words, and also highlight the importance of identifying the tone of the blank while I'll be discussing these questions. So without wasting any more time, let's start with the first question. Now, what is the sentence saying? The media once portrayed the governor as anything but ineffective. So, anything but ineffective. So, she was anything but ineffective means she was what? Effective? Now, this is a very common trap which you would see on the GRE, that is called as double negative. So, the GRE people, they are so smart. If they want to say she is beautiful, they will not say she is beautiful. They will actually say she is not ugly. So, by putting a negative in front of a word, they would actually give the opposite of the word to convey the intended meaning. And in this, a student is likely to get confused and not understand the correct meaning of what the sentence is trying to say. So, here, this is just a play of words, and they are trying to say she is anything but ineffective means she is effective. They now, however is what? A contrast word. So, as soon as we see a contrast word, we know that the second part of the sentence is going to be opposite of the first part. So, they now, however, make her out to be an epitome. Epitome is like a perfect example of dash. So, however means she used to be effective, but now they are trying to showcase her as somebody who is not effective or ineffective. So, actually we need a synonym of ineffective for the blank. Now, with this thinking in mind, let's have a look at the options. So, we know ineffective is something negative. So, there are only negative options which can fit in the blank. So, let's try to eliminate the positive ones first. Brilliance is a positive option. We can eliminate B. Dynamism is again positive. Egoism is a negative option, but I don't think so we are talking about ego anywhere in the sentence. We are talking about effectiveness or ineffectiveness. So, let's rule out D. Now these were the easier options to eliminate because these words are comparatively simpler, or we know the meanings of these words. The two tricky words that we have here are fecklessness and punctiliousness. These might be, for some of you, these might be words which you are seeing for the first time. So not to worry, that is why I always say that vocabulary is very important when it comes to preparing for the GRE exam. So watch our vocab series, and in that I upload videos every week that will help you in building your vocabulary. But for now, let's try to figure out what can be the correct answer. So punctiliousness. So how to remember the meaning of punctiliousness? Think of a similar sounding word. Punctilious, maybe punctual. What is punctual? Punctual is somebody who always comes on time. Punctual is a positive word. In the same way, punctilious is also a positive word. Punctilious means somebody who pays a lot of attention to minute details, or somebody who does their work very meticulously. Another word, somebody who's very hardworking or would pay a lot of attention to detail is a punctilious person. So punctilious is also positive. Rule this out. So what are we left with? Fecklessness. What do we mean by feckless? Feckless is somebody who is useless or worthless. So somebody who is useless or worthless would be ineffective. So fecklessness would be the correct choice. So they now make her out to be an epitome of fecklessness. So with all of these strategies, with the tone of the blank, the clues in the sentence, we'll be able to effectively solve the question with a little help from vocabulary. So all in all, everything is important when it comes to solving a text completion question. Now let's quickly have a look at the next one. This is a 2 blank question. So we did a 1 blank and now we are moving to the next one, which is a 2 blank question. Let's read. The setting in which the concert took place, dash. Okay. So now you might also feel that is it necessary to always fill the first blank first? Or like, do I have to fill the blanks in order? It is not written anywhere, or it is not necessary to fill the blanks in order. You can fill any blank first. It totally depends on how much information you have got from the sentence to fill the blank. And many a times I have seen in 50 to 60% of the cases, more than 50% of the cases, it is easier to fill the latter blanks first, because by the time you reach the end of the sentence, you have more information as compared to when you are at the starting of a sentence. So if you are not able to fill the first blank or not think of a word for the first blank, it's okay. Keep on reading. Keep on collecting the information. Keep on building your story. So let's read. The setting in which the concert took place, dash. The setting could be positive, negative. I don't have much idea up till now. The group's performance was elegant and polished. Okay, it might be positive. The group's performance was very good. But, so another contrast word. But the sound which seeped across the cold, unresonant high school auditorium was oddly dash. So the sound that was seeping through the cold, unresonant auditorium would definitely be negative, because the circumstances are so negative. The environment is cold, unresonant. Given the energy the players seemed to be putting into it. So the players were putting a lot of energy into their performance, but sadly the sound was not positive. The sound was very low. It was not, you could say, energetic. It was very, what could you say? The sound was very low on energy, something like that. So we know for the second blank we need something negative, and for the first blank what would we need then? We would again need something negative, because the setting led to these circumstances in the concert Despite the players putting so much energy, the sound seeped into the cold, unresonant high school auditorium. That means the atmosphere of the auditorium or the setting was definitely not positive. So we need negative words for both of the blanks. Let's have a look at the options for the second blank first. Clangorous, okay. Tepid and inviting. Inviting is definitely positive. We can eliminate inviting. Tepid, okay. Tepid means lukewarm and clangorous means very loud and noisy sounds. So loud and noisy sounds which are generally made by bells. That is a clangorous sound. So clangorous, again, we already know that the environment was very cold and unresonant. So clangorous will not work here. Tepid. What do we mean by tepid? Tepid means lukewarm, or tepid would also mean something which is very bland or something which is not exciting, which is unenthusiastic. So tepid would fit here. And having a look at the first blank, exacted a toll, encourage nervousness, okay. The first two are negative. Solved a dilemma is definitely positive. So we can rule out C. Exacted a toll, yes, it took a toll on the group because despite them putting so much energy, they were not able to give an enthusiastic or a lively performance, or they were not able to really change the atmosphere. So exacted a toll would work. Encourage nervousness, I don't think so we are talking about any scenario that is encouraging nervousness here. The band or the group was not nervous. They put a lot of energy into their performance. They were not confused, or they were not nervous. There isn't a situation which is causing or leading to nervousness here, but it is taking a toll on them. They have to use a lot of energy. They were using a lot of energy, but they were still not able to make the place lively. So exacted a toll and tepid would be the correct choice. Okay, moving ahead. Moving to the last one, that is a 3 blank question. So, all in all, just let's quickly recap. It's not necessary that we fill the first blank first. We can fill any blank first. We need to get the clues from the sentence. They will help us in filling the blank, and notice the tone of the blank when you are eliminating the options. It will further help you reach closer to the correct answer. Okay, that today's students of American culture tend to dash classical music is understandable. Okay, students might be interested or might not be interested. I don't know. Up till now, I am not able to form a, you can say, I am not able to establish the tone here, but let's read ahead. In our own time, America's musical high culture has denigrated. So, it has denigrated. This is a negative word. Denigrated means the value has decreased into a formulaic entertainment divorced from the contemporary moment. So, definitely something negative has happened with this musical culture. Thus, to miss out on what our orchestras are up to is not to dash much. So, because something negative has happened with this musical culture, if we are missing out on this culture, if we are missing out on something negative, that means we are not losing much. Okay, so we are not losing much, something like that. So let's have a look. What are the options that we have? We are not appreciating. No, we need something negative. Malign, I don't think so. Malign is to have evil intentions, but I don't think so we are having evil intentions here. Losing, or another word for losing is sacrificing. So if we are missing out on what our orchestras are up to, we are not sacrificing much. In the late Gilded Age, however, music was widely esteemed, means music was held in wide esteem. Esteem is something positive. There was a lot of respect for music. as the queen of the arts. So music was known as the queen of arts, positive. So in the late Gilded Age, music was regarded very highly. Classical music was in its American heyday, dash the culture at large. So it was at its peak. So we definitely need something positive in the third blank. So it was rejected. No, rejected is negative. Antagonized is to make somebody angry towards something, again negative. The only positive option that we have here is centrally embedded. So the classical music was embedded in the culture at large. Everywhere classical music had its role that it was playing. But now today what is happening? That is not there. That is the opposite. So today's students of culture tend to what? They are not paying much attention to classical music. We need something negative here. The opposite is happening. So they are what? Reinterpreting, ignore or promote. Promote is positive, reinterpret is positive. They are ignoring. So C, D and I, that is ignore, sacrifice and centrally embedded will be the correct choice. So what are the key takeaways that we have learnt in the previous questions? First, use context clues. Now what do we mean by context clues? Context clues are words or part of the sentence that will help you understand what should come in the blank. Okay, maybe they will tell you about the tone of the blank, if not about the exact word. So these clues are other parts of the sentence that help us in understanding what is missing in the sentence. Secondly, we should try to understand the relationships. What relationships do we have to understand here? Relationships between the different parts of a sentence. If two parts of a sentence are separated by comma or semicolon or colon, or maybe by words like and, but, however, like we did in the previous sentences, then how do they relate to each other? So generally when we talk about relationships, there are two kinds of relationships which are possible. First is agreement and the second is disagreement. So now what do we mean by agreement? Agreement means the two parts of the sentence would agree with each other, or in other words, the second part of the sentence would add on to the information of the first part. So words like and, also, further, or if we have a colon. Okay, so colon means the second part of the sentence is actually explaining the first part or the word just before the colon in the first part of the sentence. So agreement shows a similarity, that there is a similarity in the ideas of the two parts of the sentence. Next we come to the second type of relation, that is disagreement. The one that is more common on your GRE, that we also saw in the sentences that we were solving. Words like but, however, we have although, then though. All of these words show disagreement, that the two parts of the sentence are opposite to each other, or the idea mentioned in the second part is opposite to what was being discussed in the first part. So maybe the blank in the second part of a sentence will contain some word that is opposite to the words mentioned in the first part. So identifying the relationships between the two parts of the sentence will help you predict the tone of the blank, whether it should be positive or negative, or it can also be neutral. Third and most important is vocabulary. Building your vocabulary is very crucial. I cannot stress enough on how important vocabulary is when it comes to preparing for the GRE. It is said that an average Indian student needs to learn about 1000 to 1500 words to come to the level of English that is, tested on your GRE. Now, you don't have to start learning 1500 new words, but there might be 500 or 600 words which you already know. So you just have to work up maybe 800, 900 new words. And how will you do that? Slowly and steadily by learning 4 to 5 new words every day. So it is a skill that will take time, but you have to constantly work towards it. Also, you can try to remember the meanings of difficult words by connecting them to other words. Okay? By identifying root words or sometimes prefixes and suffixes in the word that will help you link it to other words. For example, we just did a word in the first question, punctilious. Now we can connect punctilious to punctual. Punctual is a positive habit. Punctuality is something which is a positive word. So punctilious, I can remember, is also related to something positive. Even if I don't remember the exact meaning, this much will help me in eliminating the options if it comes in the exam. Another word that we did was fecklessness. Now we know feckless is similar to useless. So feckless is a negative word. So try to connect words to other words or their root words in order to remember their meaning. So all in all, I would like to finally say that practice is essential when it comes to honing your skills for the GRE. Whatever strategies we have learned, whatever tips and tricks we have discussed, they will not work until and unless you practice. So what are some things that you can do to practice? First and foremost, use official material. Okay, use the material which is provided by the ETS. Log on to ets.org to buy and purchase the official books. You will get access to one free mock that you can give during your preparation, and if you need more mocks, you can purchase them from the ETS website. Second is, try to stimulate test like conditions when you are practicing even at home. Okay, you know that you will only get about 1.5 minutes per question when it comes to a verbal question on your GRE. So try and sit and do maybe a set of 15 questions or 20 questions with a timer, and do the questions in a timed situation. That will also help to reduce your anxiety in the actual exam, because in the actual exam, when you will see a timer running on the screen and the timer ticking, it will also add on to that anxious feeling. So get used to the timer, get used to the clock ticking when you are solving questions. And finally, review and analyze whatever mistakes you are making. For example, if you are making a particular kind of mistake again and again, whether be it a silly mistake, or whether be it not reading the options properly, or whether be it a mistake due to vocabulary, work on that and try not to repeat that mistake. So when you will practice, in addition to employing all of these techniques with consistency, you will be able to achieve a great score. So with this, I end my video here, and a very all the best to all the students who are preparing for the GRE exam. Stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, like my video if you like what we discussed today, and follow for more such content on the GRE.